first aid kits. There are many out there, all different shapes, all different sizes, all different colours and all different prices. Hello and welcome to Pack 48. My name is Phil. Today we're going to look at first aid kits. Now, the one thing I will say before we go any further is I'm trained in first aid and I was trained as a medic in the military. If you're going to carry a first aid kit, you should have at least a basic knowledge of how that kit works. So if you're a basic first aider, you ain't going to go out and purchase a paramedic's first aid kit, medic bag. Yeah, it's just beyond your realms of training. There'll be kit in there you won't know how to use. So by building your own kit, you can basically put what you want in there. When you buy first aid kits, you get what's in the kit when you buy it. So we're going to have a look at some of the kits that's out there, and as we progress, I'll add a few things or take a few things out, so you can see. Okay, one of the kits that I bought many years ago was a Life Systems first aid kit. Okay, this is a Life Systems first aid kit. This is the Mountain Leader, which I bought a couple of years ago. I had several Life Systems first aid kits and I put them all together into this one because I didn't think there was enough in there for what I wanted. So this one's got a little bit more than the average one. It covers all the different ranges of things you might find if you injure yourself or someone injures yourself in your party. So it's got your dressings, bandages, crepe bandages, triangular bandages, skin closures, lots of skin cleaners, cleansing wipes, antiseptic wipes. I don't think they do them in these ones. Silver blankets, some duct tape, comes with a light as well. Various size tapes. I put some of my own in, some micropore tape, always handy to carry. A couple of extra rolls of that stuff. Yeah, and I usually carry 2 different sizes. Yeah, I've added some aspirin, 300 milligrams, some paracetamol, and you can add your own medication if you want into this kit. My only disappointment with the kit is basically the gloves. They come in a large size and my hands are a bit bigger than a large. I need an extra large, so I've had to replace the gloves, but that's neither here nor there. It comes with some nice burn gel and some sachets, which is always handy. I would like to see a couple of bigger sachets as well. The only problem and criticism I got with the Life System stuff is when you look for it on Amazon or eBay, it's difficult to find it. Like I said, that's the Mountain Leader. This little one in the front is a Trek. This is more if you're going out on your own and you just want to carry a little first aid kit in your pocket yourself. It covers basic wounds. We've got a couple of dressings, a couple of bandages, some tape, scissors, wound cleaners, the usual stuff. The triangular bandage. It doesn't have a silver blanket or anything like that in there. You can add one though, not a problem. I do put a face shield in a lot of my kits. Always carry a face shield. Rubber gloves, make sure you've got plenty in there. And that's just a basic first aid kit. But it's ideal if you're just going out on your own. Like I said, the bigger one is more if you're going out, there's 2 or 3 of you. And like I said, I've added a lot more to this one than there was previously in there. So there's quite a lot in this first kit. I don't want to go into too many details on it, but if you Google it, you will see the contents. The one thing I always find with first aid kits though is that some of the stuff you're never likely to use, but a lot of the stuff, things like plasters and wipes and stuff like that, you're going to use a lot of. This is another Life System kit. This is a travel one. This contains syringes, rubber gloves, skin closures, a needle and thread, some instructions, some wipes again, a scalpel. As for travelling, so if you're travelling to a foreign country, it's a handy thing to have. Yeah, I picked it up and I thought, well, you know, may as well add it to my kit. So this one would be in my car with this one, because you never know. Yeah. So let's move on to my one now. So we'll move this way. Those of you that have watched some of my videos before know I like to make my own stuff up. The first aid kit is no exception. This is one I'm at the moment putting together because I've made myself a new bag. It's still not quite finished yet. I'm just having a look and play around to see what I can actually get into this bag without going over the top. You don't want to be carrying loads and loads of first aid stuff. Same as your bushcraft kit, you don't want to be carrying tons of the stuff. You know, you try and keep it as simple as you possibly can. And like I said, you try and keep it within the realms of your training. So if you're only a basic first aider, you don't want to be going, like I said, to a paramedic's bag and buying one of those. Handy to have, lovely bits of kit, but if you can't use it, what's the point of having it? Okay, so the bag is quite simple. It's got lots of different pockets in it, various types. Yeah, so we'll just basically run through the kit. Scissors, these are the shears, the type, the EDC ones. I find them very good. They cut through just about anything, even tin. Yeah, so I carry a pair of them. I carry some ordinary little scissors, as well as a scalpel and some blades. Some tweezers of various sizes. I usually like to carry a big pair because I've got big hands, obviously. A flat pair and a small pair. And a pair of archery forceps, or closures as some people call them. This is what fishermen use, but I find them very useful. You know, I've had them in my kit for a lot of years. Medic's light tells you all the different sizes on the side of pupils. We're not going to go into that. Like I said, I don't want to get involved in stuff like that at the moment. Now, I carry various size plasters, obviously, because like I said, we use a lot of those here, especially when you're out doing bushcraft. You know, you slip, you get a bit of cut on your fingers and stuff like that, or your hands. Simple. I do carry some bigger versions of plasters. These are quite nice to have. They come in various different sizes, but it's just basically an oversized plaster with micropore rather than some of the tape. And they come in various sizes. Silver blanket, a chest seal. I usually carry two. This is a Russell's chest seal. Again, the cost of these is not cheap. There are cheapy, nasty ones out there. Always be wary of those ones. Same as any other kit, you might find there's lots of cheap stuff out there, but choose carefully. Look around before you purchase. Okay, some of the items I think that most people don't seem to have in their first aid kits are what I like to call shit stoppers and shit goers. So something to help you if you've got diarrhea, and something to help you if you're blocked up. Worth carrying in your first aid kit. You can carry them in your survival kit if you want, or just in your pocket. Some paracetamol, some other forms of painkillers. That's entirely up to you again. Some first aid kits come with their own, but I like to put my own in it. Scalpel blades, like I said. Some ordinary paper skin closures. A face shield. Various dressings. Antiseptic soap. These are for blisters. So you get blisters on your feet, they come in a nice little pot. You can carry them. A little bit better than an ordinary plaster. They've got a bit more padding in them, and some of them come shaped like a donut, so they go round the blister and protect it for a little while anyway. Some cotton buds. Cotton buds are fantastic if you get something in the eye, or you get a bit of grit in the cut. You can use them to get it out. You know, you have to be careful. Yeah. Some duct tape, pack of gauze swabs, triangular bandages, plenty of wet wipes. I got alcohol ones and ordinary non-alcohol ones. Like I said, another face shield. That's a resuscitate version. That's a more of a flat version. Cotton wool. Again, some tape. Some micropore tape. I like to carry plenty of that. Again, some of the items I feel that let some first aid kits down are things like a tick remover. This is a little electric one, creates a little electric charge. and the tick usually comes away quite nicely. I do carry a tick card which I carry in with my plasters, which is basically about the same size as a credit card, and it's got different things in it you can, to get rid of ticks. Feminine hygiene products. Many years ago when I was out on exercise with the military, a young soldier came up to me and she said, "Can I talk to Corporal C privately?" And I said, "Yeah, what's the problem?" And she said, "It's that time of the month and I've run out. Do you happen to carry any?" And just so happens that I do. I carry some ordinary tampons and some ordinary pads, and I've done for some time. They're brilliant bit of kit to carry in your first aid kit, believe it or not. Tampons you can use if you've got an open wound and it's deep. You can put one of those in there, bandage around it. That'll hold quite a lot of blood, believe it or not. Same as the pads, they're designed for that, so they're always handy to carry. Yeah. First aid instructions. This one is quite a good one. It's a St. John's one, and it comes quite comprehensive. Yeah, it's got lots of different things on it, all of what you will need to do with ABC. Now the ABC, obviously, is the things that we use in first aid to assign people to different casualties. The aims of first aid, obviously, is to save life and prevent further injury. That saying changes depending on who you get trained by. They have different ways of saying that, but basically your priorities, ABC. You can build your kit on the ABC principle. The only problem with that is, A being airways and stuff like that, you're not going to be carrying oxygen. Oxygen is difficult to carry. Comes in bottles, obviously big bottles, as we talked about in a previous video. So carrying that as an ordinary bushcrafter, survivalist, prepper, it's not really a good idea. Some people do carry an oxygen tank in their vehicles. If you're vehicle based, not a problem. If you're carrying stuff on your back, it's very difficult. You don't want to be doing that. So we'll move down the table a bit more. We got some Vicks and some Vaseline. Vicks is basically Vaseline with a decongestant in it, so that you can unclear your nose. Warms you up nicely. Vaseline can be used to put between your toes, keep them nice and moist. Warms up your toes quite nicely, especially when it's cold. And it has numerous other properties for stopping chaffing and stuff like that, and it'll burn quite nicely as well in your cotton wool. Now, one of the items that I started getting my hands on recently were the Israeli dressings, which are these ones. These are the British Army issue ones. This is a 6-inch version. That's how they come. This is the old version of the British Army field dressing, and this is the new version. So this is the old one and this is the new one. Now I've just ordered a couple of these off eBay in the 4-inch version, so I get a couple of 4-inch versions. Come about that size. This is a 4-inch version, but it's not in the same make as these, but they're very good. Now I want to show you one open, because I'm sure there's lots of people out there that wonder what they look like open. And it's basically a large pad, yeah, and a long elasticated dressing, and right at the end, if it's there, you've got your closure. Now with the good thing about these is that they can be used like a tourniquet, and they put a lot of pressure on the wound, whereas with the older versions, I'll wrap that up later, put that over there for the moment. With the older versions, they were more rigid, they didn't flex much. Yeah, tourniquets. Everyone talks about tourniquets. When I first done my first aid course, the only time you'd use a tourniquet was in dire emergencies. Now everyone seems to be talking about them and carrying them. So, you know, I've got a couple of various types. I've got a couple of the old British Army issue ones, which you're not going to use because they're rubber tubing. So you go for the modern ones. These are fairly cheap to purchase. You can get them for around £5 on Amazon and eBay. They do go up quite extensively in price depending on who you go with. Same with these dressings. They can average anything from £10, and I have seen them as high as £38, believe it or not, which is ridiculous for what it is. And if you're just starting out into bushcraft and survival, You don't want to be spending loads and loads of your hard-earned money on stuff like this. So build up slowly. There's no need to go rushing out and buying all this kit. So we'll move down a little bit. This is my little first aid kit, which I carry on my belt, on my day sack, on my snatch bag, on my bug out bag, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's just basically enough in there, so if I'm on the move, I can just pull it out of the pouch and do whatever I got to do on the move if need be, without having to go to the main one, which is the bigger one, which I'm building, like I said, and having to stop and get it out and do all the things you got to do. So that's why I keep it ready to hand. Okay, my EDC kit consists of a little first aid kit. It's a little pouch I made up a while ago. There's nothing in it at the moment because I've taken some of it out to put here. This will go back, and I will fill this with some nice new stuff, and I'll go back in my normal bag for work and stuff like that, which I'll carry, and that'll have, you know, all of what I feel I need to do whatever it is I need to do. So it'll have bandages, dressings, plasters, you know, swabs and usual stuff, some paracetamol. You know, I won't go nuts with it because, again, it's only a small bag, and the more you put in them, the heavier they become. So moving down to this end then of the table, like I said, field dressings, the military ones, they come in various different sizes, and they come in colours as well. These are the old versions. This is the more modern version of these ones. They started doing them in green. They come in two different sizes, that being a bigger chunkier one, this one being a smaller one. You know, I still like these. I still like to carry them because they're easy and they're convenient. Many years ago I done an escape and evasion course, and we were allowed to carry these, and knowing to the instructors on the course, I'd taken all the contents out and I put a survival kit inside one of these and added in my jacket. Because they didn't take them off us, I had a survival kit inside one of these. Now when he took it out and looked at it, he said, oh, it's a field dressing. And I went, yeah. And that was it. So you can do a lot of things with these. Yeah, they're very handy. They're quite cheap to buy as well now. They've taken them out of service, so there's quite an abundance of them out there. Yeah, make sure if you do buy them, the seals are not damaged. Like I said, you know, they'll be out of date, but in an emergency you could still use them. You know, this first aid kit is more of a specific first aid kit. This is one I put together a while ago. A couple of years ago, I'd done some cycle racing, and they asked me to do the first aid because they knew I was a first aider. So I put this kit together, so if we had a cycle accident on when they were racing, at least I'll have a bit of kit there that I could utilise. Now, over a period of time, you get used to seeing the types of casualties you're going to be seeing more often. And the biggest injuries that I've seen were things like gravel rash on the thighs, on the knees, on the elbows, on the shoulder. Yeah, so I worked the bag around gravel rash, but I added a few other things. Now, some of the things I added, which you wouldn't find normally in another first aid kit like this, would be a face mask. It's an oxygen based version. Now you can add what they call a bellows. I think that's what they call it, bellows. There is a specific name for it, and for the life of me I can't remember it. That'll fit onto this mask, and you can pump it, so it saves you having to put your mouth to theirs. Yeah, it's got a valve, and you've got other little inlets that you can put other things on if need be. It comes with gloves. Yeah, a lot of lifeguards used to carry these years ago in a little pouch on their belts. Again, face shields with a one-way filter, obviously valve, sorry, got filters on the brain. Rubber gloves, plenty of them. These are airways. Now the thing with airways is they come in different sizes, so you know, obviously they go down to, I think it's 0 and up as high as 7 being for a very big person, 0 being for a baby, obviously. So I carry a few of those in there. I carry some 300mg aspirin, asthmatic inhaler, which I had given me, another version of a tourniquet. This is another type. paper bag, brown paper bag. Yeah, a stethoscope. Always handy to carry some extra bits, as I found out in the past, there were lots of doctors who were racing on the cycle races, and they like to have their own little bits of kit. So I carry things, if I needed it, they had it. So, Pro Plus. Now Pete Baxter sent me a message asking me why I mentioned Pro Plus and why I carry it. Well, Pro Plus, basically, Pete, is a caffeine. As we all know, caffeine is nice, especially in coffee. Yeah, but Pro Plus, what it does is it stays off fatigue in yourself. If you're out and about and you've been out for several days or several hours, it helps stave off fatigue and all sorts of other things your body starts to go through when you're exerting yourself. So that's basically Pro Plus. Good bit of kit, and I like to carry some, and I've carried some for a lot of years, and basically it's an invaluable bit of kit. I'm not going to go into too much detail on the rest of this bag, but needless to say, you've got an idea of all the different types of size dressings. Vaseline I carry, a big tub of Vaseline somewhere, big tub of Vaseline. And what I would do is I'd get my rubber gloves on, get a big dollop of this out, put it on the other glove, put the lid back on it, chuck it back in my bag. And if it's someone with a bit of gravel rash and they wanted to carry on racing, I just wipe their wound over and rub a load of Vaseline on it. That would seal it for a certain extent of time, and as soon as the race would finish, they'd come over and see me, and then I'd probably give it a good clean and dress it properly, give them a spare dressing so when they got home they could basically redress the wound if need be. Now, some of the other interesting items I've got on the table. This is a military first aid kit which you'd find in the vehicles. A bit outdated now, but again, you can pick these up fairly reasonable. They may be out of date, as long as the packaging is not damaged or been opened. In an emergency, you could still use it. Yeah. There's a lot of other dressings out there you might want to consider. You've got blast dressings, you've got other versions. They're all vacuum packed like this, which are great. But you know, again, these are not cheap. Yeah. One of the things I used to do many years ago was carry my first aid kit in a little bottle like this. Quite handy. You know, especially if you're out canoeing and stuff like that. You put your first aid kit in a bag, shove it in there, do it up, bit of rubber band round the top to stop any water maybe ingressing into the bottle itself, or making it find its way in. So it's a good way of storing a first aid kit or a survival kit or bushcraft kit in a pot like that. Keeps it nice and tight and waterproof. Remember, of course, I just wanted to give you an idea of some of the bits of kit that I carry. Not always, I don't carry this one around so much anymore. But like I said, the red one I keep in my car, the green one I'm building up at the moment, and the other little green one is going to be on my bug out bag if you want. Excuse me. Lots of things to think about. Yeah, one of the items I didn't mention is cling film. Brilliant bit of kit, good for burns, for covering them and sealing them. It's also good if you do get a bit of gravel rash and you put a dressing on it, wrap this round, you know, it'll seal it and it'll keep it moist and dry in there. Moist and dry. Moist if it's damp and wet, i.e. when you're leaking fluid from obviously the gravel rash, but it keeps it dry from outside, if you know what I mean. A very good bit of kit. It's not just for cooking and wrapping sandwiches. So I hope you enjoyed this little look at first aid kits. Remember, of course, your priorities of first aid, the ABCs, the aims of first aid, and if you base your bags on the priorities, like I said, just build it up slowly. Don't go to the first place that shows you a first aid kit that got all of everything you ever wanted in it, because it may cost you more than you realise. Yeah. So have a look around. One of the best places I found for first aid kits is Henny Hayes. They're just outside of Cardiff. They're on Amazon, they're on Facebook I believe as well. You'll find them out there. Just Google Henny Hayes and they got some amazing bits of kit. If you ask for a gentleman called Richard and say Big Phil sent you, you know, I'm sure he'll give you a bit of discount. You know, unbelievable the amounts of first aid stuff out there. Like I said, it's changing all the time. From when I first done my first course to now, a massive jump. So I'm having to keep up with the first aid. I do it through work, you know, and I do the advanced stuff with a defib and stuff like that. And that equipment is getting better and better. It's getting smaller and smaller. Eventually you'll have a defib kit to fit in your pocket like a phone, you know, with a couple of wires and pads, job done. It's only a matter of time, you know. So please look at what's out there, you know, and remember, the best bit of kit that you can carry is the knowledge you got in your head. Many people have survived not because they had the right equipment, whether it be bushcraft, whether it be survival, whether it be prepping. It's because they had something other than the kit or training. They just had sheer willpower. You don't need tons and tons of kit to survive, and that's been proven many a times. But we like to carry kit because we like to feel secure and we like to be prepared. So if you like this video, and I'm sorry it's a bit quick, we're a bit pressed for time today because we're trying out a new camera and we wanted to see how it all goes. Like and subscribe, leave a comment below. If you want to see something specifically, again, make a comment. Some of the things we got coming up for the future, which I'm sure you might be of interest in, we're going to make some pouches shortly on 1 or 2 episodes. We're going to make a Leatherman pouch and a few other pouches. One of the things I want to do is get into my bug out vehicle. It's not going to be like your normal bug out vehicle. A lot of people have their vehicles, you know, with all this magic wonderful kit. My bug out vehicle is going to be purely based on the average person who lives maybe in a small block of flats, or, you know, lives in a accommodation where you might be on the first floor, second floor, where they might have a little lockup outside for storing things like their push bikes and stuff like that. That's what I'm going to be doing in the future, and I'm hoping you can come along and watch, comment and take part, basically have a bit of fun at the same time. So thank you very much for watching. This is Pack 48 and my name is Phil.